Good morning. It's your girl, Erica Harris, Chief Purpose Coach for Purposeful Seed on this beautiful April 30th, 2024. And the day is particularly important today because we are closing out yet another month, if you can believe that, moving into another month starting tomorrow, May 1st. And it's important for me in particular as Chief Purpose Coach for Purposeful Seed, particularly because May 1st has a profound place in the history of my life. May 1st, 2017 is the day that I launched Purposeful Seed. It's the day that I launched Purposeful Seed. It is my anniversary, you all. 7 years in the making. 7 years, 7 being the number of completion. And so I am celebrating actually by walking. I'm out here at Crescent Park in Beverly Morgan Park area. I've started some new traditions with myself lately. One of them is trying to get back to exercise, taking my body back, if you've been following me. And I'm just super excited because I have created a life for myself where I have the freedom to be able to do something like this, to drop my kids off at school, to walk in the morning or exercise, to take in the sun, as you see the sun shining on my face, and to even just be able to take a moment to pause to acknowledge the beauty of 7 years of being in business by myself, standing on my own. I'm just really taking that in because there's some lessons along the way that I have learned, and I'm hoping I can share some of those in this video while I'm walking, because somebody needs to hear it. And not only that, I just want to give gratitude for everything that has been learned in this process. 7 years of walking on my own, of being an independent entrepreneur, a solopreneur really. 7 years of touching lives, helping people find purpose and meaning in the work that they do, in the service that they offer to the world. 7 years of pouring out, but yet being poured into. 7 years of just autonomy and flexibility and, I don't know, standing up on my own. It has really been a joy. And so I'm celebrating that. Thank you for celebrating with me. I'm so excited, not only because I've made it those 7 years, but because I've learned some things. And I'm hoping I can really share some of those things with you on this walk today. Been trying to think about it. What have I learned? So first of all, I'm one of these people who believes that, like, you look backwards to figure out where you're going, right? And so even as I'm walking forward today, I'm going to do a little bit of looking backwards. Yeah. Hey. Because the looking backwards is going to help me figure out what my next steps are. I've got some big things happening, and I want you to know about them, but let's do a little walk back first, okay? So the first is 7 years ago. What was happening in my life? What was happening in my life 7 years ago? Okay, so that was 2017. 2016. I had just decided to leave an organization that I frankly loved. I was at the Surge Institute in my last full-time job. I was the program, vice president of programs, working with the awesome team there. And I was going through a period where I realized that the work that I was doing, which I loved, was about to shift. You ever feel a shift coming? Like a pivot? Something is about to happen. You don't know exactly what, but you know something's about to happen. I was approaching 40, or maybe I was 40. I don't know. Yeah, and just going through some changes. And not only personally going through some changes, but also realizing that the world was about to shift to Surge. Surge was about to take on some new cities. We were going from just being in Chicago to thinking about how do we expand. And that was requiring some different things of the leadership, of Carmita as the leader, of all of the people on the team. And I remember those conversations. I remember Carmita saying to me, like, hey, Erica, as we get ready to shift, I've been thinking about what it is that we need to be able to make this shift. She came to me with a couple of job descriptions. And in those job descriptions, the roles that she started explaining for what the leadership was required were about strategy. They were about, scale. They were about, building new partnerships and, how do we get bigger? How do we become strategic about where we're going to go in our next phase? All of which were necessary. I mean, that's what Surge needed. We were trying to figure out, do we go to Oakland? Do we go to, where do we go? And we ended up going out to the Bay Area, but there were all these questions. And how do we maintain the fidelity of what we built here in Chicago? And so it was clear that Surge needed a shift. Not a shift away from me. Let me be clear. It wasn't that they were shifting away from Erica. It was that Surge needed something different because of where it was in its area of growth and development. Had nothing really to do with me. But you have a responsibility, an obligation, both to the organization and to oneself, when you see the shift coming, to pay attention. So Carmita, being that she's consummate professional and also a very good friend, she gave me the heads up, like, hey, this is where we're going. And she asked, do you see yourself in these roles? She made no assumptions. She let me decide. She let me look at it. And what I had to acknowledge is that actually, I don't see myself in these spaces. I appreciate strategy. I can do strategy. But I don't know if I want to. And I had to be honest about that. Have you ever had to be honest about the fact that there's something you could do, but it might not be what you should do? That's what I was grappling with at that time. And so when she came to me, I hope you all can check out some of the architecture around here because these houses are amazing. When she came to me, I had to acknowledge that what she was offering and what they needed is not what Erica needed. How did I know? Here's another lesson. At that time, what I knew is that what I was getting joy from with the work I was doing with Surge, what I was getting joy from is the one-on-one work that I was doing with my fellows, helping them strategize on where they were going and how to get there. And so if you're moving me from that work to how do we as an organization move, that doesn't feel quite like the impact that Erica needed to make. And something in my gut just knew I needed to trust that, even though it likely meant that there was going to be a shift in the road. And that's what happened. And so in that year, in 2016, I opted to say, you know what? It's time for a shift. God must have something else for me. And as painful as it was to acknowledge that that might mean moving away from Surge, I had to do it. And I did. I left Surge, 6-figure salary, benefits and all, without understanding what God had for me. Y'all know how scary that is? Because was scary for me, scary for my husband, scary, like it was scary. Leaving all of that to say God's saying is something else. Now, at the time, I just thought that meant that God was going to send me another job. Please don't understand and misconstrue that I left Surge with a full plan to become a business owner. Clutch my pearls. Yeah, no. No, sis, it wasn't like that. I had no idea what God had in store. And I think the lesson, as I'm walking and I'm trying to take in all the lessons here, the lesson for me is you don't have to know. You just have to trust. You don't have to know. You have to trust the inner voice, and you have to trust that God is telling you to do something. You don't always know why, but you do know, I did know, that it was necessary. And so that's what I did. I said, okay, I got to step down. So I left Surge with no plan. I also don't recommend that. I left with a plan to be obedient. I did not leave with a plan for what to do. I don't recommend that. But I did leave with something in my heart that said I'm going to follow purpose. That was the North Star. And it has continued to be the North Star. And every since then, it's just been a journey to seeking that purpose. What do you have for me, God? Who are you sending me to? And so the first lesson, trust that inner voice and be obedient. That's number one. The second is do it scared. And they're very aligned. I was scared, y'all. I don't want anybody to have the impression, given the bravery that it took, that came easy to me. It did not. It did not come easy to be brave like that and say, I'm going to step down from the stability, the salary, the benefits, knowing where work was coming from. And then fast forward not only to the time where I made the decision, but do you know that I was out of work? Like consistent, not figuring it out from the time that I left Surge to the time that I opened. That was 8 months, y'all. 8 months of the wilderness. When I talk to you about faith and I talk to you about trust, it was 8 months of wilderness. But the lesson, because I'm so much better for it now, is trust it and stay the course. Right? You might be scared, but if you're walking in God's will, stay the course. Stay the course. Do it scared, but do it. So I did that. And then let's talk about how I even came to Purposeful Seed and coaching. And I've told this story a few times, but I feel like since I'm walking, I might as well share. Okay, so decided to leave Surge, didn't have a plan, decided to channel inward. What is it that I do naturally well that I don't have to think about? I just do. I've always done. And that just kept bringing me back to, the work that I did with my fellows. The work that I did with them was exceptional. It was joyful. You didn't have to pay for me to meet with people. I would meet with them and do informational sessions just because I could. So if there is a lesson, oh, what a pretty dog. See, it's a pretty, pretty, pretty dog. So cute. Beautiful. So, the lesson in that was do what you love, because you'll do it for free. And I did. I did it for free. I walked to session after session and info sessions with my people who I knew. I was looking for work, so I thought. But ultimately, it was really just me pouring my gift out into people. And that gift was about helping them figure out their purpose. I don't know if I knew that at the time. Not sure that I did. But, good morning. I don't think that I knew that. But I trusted it. because it felt right. I felt in line. I felt in order when I was doing it. And so one day, I'll never forget this meeting. Enche, shout out. We went to Nando's in New City Mall, and we had a conversation. She was seeking her next, job, and at the end of the conversation, it was supposed to be an info session. At the end of the conversation, she was like, Erica, people will pay you for this kind of wisdom, this kind of advice, this kind of coaching. She even put a name to it. And I remember saying, like, is this a thing? Would people really pay me for that? And it was like a bell went off in my spirit. That's the thing. The thing that has always made room for you. That's the thing. And sometimes it's so simple that we don't get that it's that simple. But it's the thing that has always made room. I have always had people come to me for sage insight, advice. Not telling them what to do, but telling them what it is that I see when I see them. Like acknowledging that I see them. And in doing so, when people feel seen, they can see themselves. And in doing so, they get breakthrough. I didn't realize that, but that's what I learned from Enche. So I trusted my gift. Perhaps another lesson. Trust your gift. It will make room for you if you make room for it. So fast forward, decided I'm going to go into coaching. My first real client job was a southern white woman from Kentucky on a site, I think it was Thumbtack or something. Like, it was so random. She was in manufacturing and she was struggling. And I just put out a profile randomly. I said, let me just see if I put this out there. And we had maybe no more than 4 sessions. But at the end of those sessions, this woman was singing my praises, talking about how much clarity she had gotten about how she should be treating her job search. She was applying for positions she'd never considered before. I mean, like, it just all started to come together for her only because she had a space to actually talk it through. And I realized if I can talk to that young white woman from Kentucky and help her find herself, I can do this with people who I even know a little bit more intimately and closely because they're more like me even. And that's what I did. May 1st, 2017, I launched Purposefull Seed. So then it was like, well, what are you going to focus on, right? So you're going to coach. Who are you going to target? And this is a lesson that I'm continually learning. Again, as your gifts make room for you, sometimes we undermine that your experience is what matters for you. So your experience is what makes you unique. Your unique experiential DNA, so to speak, is what makes you special. Therefore, lean into that experience when you're trying to figure out how do you make yourself unique in the marketplace. And so that's what I did. Who do I work with? I've always had an in with education and nonprofit folks, right? Those are my people. So those who I'm going to support. I've always had a connection with women of color. Those are my people. So that's who I'm going to connect with. I've always had a connection with, people who love young folk. So that's who I'm going to coach. And I just started using my network and using my people to say, I know I can help those folks because I am those folks. You get that? You lean into the very thing that you know well and you trust that. And I did, and it has not failed me yet. Do you know of all of the clients that I have had over the years, and I'm going to count them, and hopefully when I put up this video, I'll be able to share how many. Of all of the clients that I've had, do you know that 90% of them have been in my own network, or 1 degree, maybe 2 degrees of separation? And And I haven't even tapped the surface. And I'm in the process of growth and scale. So it's not that I'm where I want to be, but I just thank God, I'm grateful that what I've done to this point has just been based on the people I know, or the people who know me. And what a blessing to be able to say that your network can work for you. Can I give you another lesson? Use your people. Use your people. Say it again for the people in the back, Erica. Use your people. Listen, I want to say thank you to every single person who sent Erica a client. To every person who said, oh, you want to talk purpose? You got to talk to Erica. For every person who's called Erica the purpose girl. I've heard that before. That purpose chick. Anybody who has ever sent me people, I'm going to pause here. Thank you. I want you to see my eyes. Thank you. You have no idea what it has meant to me and to my family to have you pour into me by sending people my way. What a blessing. You may not even work with me yourself, but you knew enough about me, about my ethic, about my integrity to send your people my way. Put food on my table because of it. And I am eternally grateful because every single one of those people has added value to my life. And I'm grateful. So thank you. And the reason that is possible is because I use my network. I ask people, who do you have? Who needs to talk to Erica? Who does Erica need to talk to? Because here's what I'm clear about. God sends me people. And he sends people to me. And he sends me to people. And he sends people to me. I just need to be obedient. But those of you who have also been obedient, who have shared your people with me, who have made a recommendation, listen, keep doing it. And I got some stuff that's coming right now that's going to even help people more. The next thing that I'm about to launch is a place, I hope, of rebirth, of reclaiming our joy, of reclaiming our purpose, of reclaiming our shine, our brilliance, particularly for BIPOC women. I need us to reclaim ourselves. So look out for that. So if you're looking for somebody who's like, I'm burned out, I'm tired of being tired, but I know I got more work to do, and I know the work starts with doing work on me, I have something for you. And I'm going to thank you. I'm going to thank you in advance for pouring into me for this new phase that I've got going on. Because it's going to be awesome. I promise you. It's going to be awesome. So that's another lesson. Just depend on your people. And when your people know who you are and they're real clear about your identity, it's easier for them to recommend people to you. For them to refer folks if they know who you are and what you're doing and why. I think everybody's clear. Erica's the purpose chick. She's going to help you get clarity on who you are, what you're supposed to be doing, and what you want to have in life. And then she's going to help you create a plan to get there. That's what I'm doing. So if you know somebody who needs that, send them my way. But use your people to get the people. And it'll be better for you and for them. What else have I learned? I have learned the power of the pause. What do I mean by that? For a long time when I was in the rat race of working for someone else, and let me be clear, again, Erica was never supposed to be working for herself. Excuse me. That was not the plan, y'all. If you had asked me 7 years ago, what would you be doing right now? I'd be saying probably I'd be an executive director or somebody's second in charge or something like that at a big major organization. Being a CEO or founder, never part of the plan. That's just real. And I want to say it because I want for somebody else who might be thinking, I didn't plan to do this. You don't have to plan it. Just walk in it. But in this process, what was I saying? I realized that I was burning myself to the core. Just working, doing. Not quite sure why, but just doing a whole lot of ish. Ever been doing a whole bunch of ish? Don't know why? That was me. And I say that because the power of the pause was important for me. I know it was 8 months, and it was 8 months of a difficult time for me and my husband, and our, just going through, figuring out how to make it all match. But the pause was important for me because in the pause, I learned that I like flexibility. I appreciate autonomy. I appreciate the flexibility of my schedule to the point that now I can't even see how I would let it go. I own my time. But Sister Maxine, Auntie Maxine says, reclaiming my time. I'm reclaiming my time, you all. I don't know that I could give it back if I wanted to right now. And the pause allowed me to see that the reclaiming my time was important. And it keeps becoming a lesson for me, if you follow my journey, my health story. My health is always an indication of whether I need to pause. And every time God says you're doing too much, he will sit me down if I won't sit down, right? And so the pause has been really important. I encourage you to pause. Pause, think, reflect, ask yourself some important questions. There is power in the pause. They say it a pregnant pause for something because pregnant means you're about to birth something. You're about to give something. You're about to offer something to the world. But you got to pause to do it. If you've ever given birth physically of a baby, you have to catch your breath and do all that breathing stuff before you can push that baby through, right? That's what you've got to do too. You got to pause. You got to pause. And people think that the pause is detrimental, right? They think that the pause is like, oh, I'm not doing enough. And they feel guilt and shame in the pause. Can I say, I'm going to stop here. Stop that mess. Stop it. You can pause. The world is going to keep going. But if you don't stop, you're not going to be able to keep going. So pause, girl. Pause, sir. Slow it down. Pause and figure out what it is that your spirit is telling you. Pause. Now, on the other side of that pause, there's some action that has to be taken. You can't just pause and then stop and get stuck. But you do have to pause so you can hear yourself. And then you can birth what was meant to come through in the pause, right? What was meant to be delivered through the pregnancy of the pause. So pause. Pause is essential. Pauses help me get clarity. In some ways, this talk right here is a pause. A pause to say thank you. A pause to be reflective on all I've learned. A pause to take those lessons and apply them moving forward. And a pause to pass them along. So I encourage the pause. Let's see, what else have I learned? All right, so here's some hard lessons. Let's see if this will make the tape right. Get your money right. Listen, money doesn't solve every issue. But when you have it, you make better decisions. And I can be 100% clear with myself and with my audience here who's listening that money is something that I am still trying to master. Having the right amount of cash flow, getting your packages right, the right price point, having enough business but not too much where you feel overwhelmed. But getting your money right allows you to get help. Because the better problem I have is to have more work than you have arms, and then buy arms, right? Buy capacity. But if you don't have the capacity to buy support, you can find yourself stuck. So when I said very early on that I didn't plan to go into business, I didn't have a plan. If you have a plan, you have a little bit more chance to have your money in the right place. to know what money you need to have coming in, what money you need to have going out, and what capacity you might need to help support you in that. I am still working on that. It is a work in progress. And I've invited people in my network to support me as I continue to grow in this area, because it is an ongoing challenge and I'm figuring it out. But I'm not ashamed anymore. Don't let shame stop you. I'm not ashamed anymore of saying that that's the kind of help that I need. If you can't say what kind of help you need, sis, bro, whoever's listening, you can't get the help, right? You can't get the help that you won't ask for. You cannot heal from what you won't even acknowledge. So get over the shame and the guilt of it all. Tell yourself what you need and get your help. Get your help. Get your help. And I'm trying to get help in that area. Get your money right. That's a big one. Because money, again, it doesn't solve everything, but it alleviates some pressure. And in this life, there's always going to be pressure. Sometimes you just got to let some of that pressure go by taking off the strain, building in capacity. Get you a virtual assistant. Get you somebody who can help build your practice so that you can do the art of what you do. Have somebody help you with the science of what you do. But bring somebody in maybe to help you with that so that you can do the art of what you do. I hope that makes sense. Okay, so we got a lot of lessons in here. I'm trying to think of this I've missed. Y'all done this like 30 some minutes of walking. And I still have a workout to do after this, so I might be tripping a little bit right now, but I've gotten excited as I've talked this through. I just have to always end with gratitude. I'm so grateful that God has sent me on this journey. Every single client that I have had has been joyful for me. And I am not saying that just to say it. I am saying it because my heart believes it. I get joy when people have a light bulb moment. I get joy when people can see themselves more clearly than they've ever seen. I get joy when people can cry in the midst of our sessions, because that means that they've released something that needed to be released. I get joy when people say, girl, I put it all down and I left that job that was killing me, but I found the thing that now fills me. I get joy from every person who has ever said to me that I had a part to play in the journey that they're on in a positive way. I get joy from people to say, you made me uncomfortable, Erica. So uncomfortable I had to move. Because you know that's where movement comes, y'all. It doesn't come in your comfort. It comes in your discomfort. It comes in your discomfort. Where you are uncomfortable is where you will move. And anytime somebody has gotten uncomfortable enough in my presence, because I've challenged them to be their best, and they've gotten uncomfortable enough to move, I consider that an honor, because that is only God using me. That is not Erica. That is mission. That is purpose. That is intention. And that is making a difference in somebody's life. So anytime someone honors me by saying, I had to make a shift, you know who you are if you're listening to this video too. Thank you for allowing me in that space. I am grateful to have been part of your journey. And for anybody who is still saying, like, it's something I need to move on, let me be your girl. I'm a thought partner. I'm a cheerleader. I'm an encourager. I can be an enforcer, and I don't mean that in a mean way. I mean, I'm not going to let you be less than your best, just like you're not going to let me be less than mine. I want to help you be all you can be. And in these 7 years that I have done with Purposeful Seed, what a joy to be able to continue the work. There's a scripture that I'm always reminded of, finish the work. I'm finishing the work, you all. It's time to finish the work that God has started. And we're going to be doing that with new classes, new courses, new peer coaching groups to help you get to your breakthrough. I need you to be paying attention to your feed. Don't ignore my emails when they come through, because it just might be for you. But it's time to do the work. It's time to be active. It's time to follow through. It's time to finish the work. And I am so grateful that for these 7 years, any one of you who has allowed me to be part of your journey, I thank you. Any of you who has sent me a client, I thank you. Any of you who has prayed for me, I thank you. My family thanks you. Anyone who has put money in my pocket, from your organization or from your own pocket, I thank you. I am not here without you. God bless you. Thank you for these 7 years. I promise the next 7 months about to be a monster, y'all. But the next 7, I don't know what God's about to do. He's about to move some things. Chains are about to be broken. From young people all the way to old folk. We're breaking chains. We're moving in purpose. And I'm so grateful. Y'all, I'm about to hug a tree. Have you ever hugged a tree before? I'm about to hug a tree. You know why? Because trees are so metaphoric. I want y'all to see this tree. See this tree right here? We're going to hug this tree. Trees are metaphors for me. That's why if you look at my logo has the roots of a tree and it branches out. Here's what I know. I don't plant seeds of purpose in anybody, but I do help you discover that seed. I help you go deep down into the roots, figure out what that seed is, and I help you bring it forth. And I help you grow into whatever it is it's meant to be, because a maple tree is going to grow, a seed is going to grow into a maple tree, right? Anything that starts a seed has to grow into what it's meant to if it's nurtured and developed. So that's what I do. I'm a purpose gardener. I'm going to help you find it if you let me. And right now, I'm going to hug this tree just as a symbol of what God has done in my life for the last 7 years. It ain't been perfect. I haven't been perfect, but I am grateful for the journey, for every moment of these 7 years. I thank you. Happy anniversary, Purposeful Seed, and to the whole Purposeful Seed family. You are a part of it. I thank you. And now I'm going to hug a tree. God bless you.